Even though it can be frustrating when something doesn't turn out the way you want it to, recipe testing days are still probably my favorite. A few weeks ago, I did a first test of this pistachio cake that was actually inspired by one I made last year in the test kitchen. And even though it looked fine, I did want to test it one more time because the cake did come out a little bit dry the first time. This is my favorite way to make cake layers, especially when you have more of a dense cake. Then I macerated some raspberries, and while those sat, I got started on these meringue cups. As you may or may not know, I love pavlovas, so I had this vision for little mini pavlovas in these little cupcake cups. I thought I was gonna get 12, but after piping a few, I quickly realized that I was only gonna get about 6, like 5.5. I was a little bit nervous about baking because my oven wasn't going below 300. But while those baked, I got started on whipping the white chocolate ganache. The last time I made it, it didn't really set that well, so I made sure to leave this in the fridge long enough. And I was so happy because I was able to whip it so stiff without it breaking. Then I started layering the cake. This is my favorite way to build a cake. It just helps to make the layers a little bit more even, especially if you do have a lot of filling. Then I wrapped the whole thing in the plastic wrap and I put it in the freezer for a little bit before removing it and flipping it upside down onto the cake plate. Then I did a crumb coat using a Swiss meringue buttercream that I had made a few days before. I popped it back in the fridge to set, and then I did the final layer of buttercream. In the last test, I coated the sides with chopped pistachios, but I decided I wanted to keep the decoration really simple, so I just topped it with raspberries. Right before cutting a slice, I realized that the cake plate I was using actually broke, but luckily I can send it to my dad to fix it. Regardless, even though this was just the second test, I was so happy with how it turned out. And I know it's a lot of components, but you definitely don't have to do all of it. By that time, the meringue cups were done. Not only were they a little bit brown, but they also were way bigger than I expected them to be. So I actually do think I could have gotten 12 if I just hadn't filled them as much.